Yamato did this. Suffering defeat after defeat, that man's body was reaching its limit. The man had a job that must be done.
I'm taking this back.
To defeat his twin brother.
Dante. Let's settle this.
Alright, hello and welcome to another Ouroboros review. Today we'll be doing the Asmus Devil May Cry 5 Vergil Luxury Edition. And he's pretty cool. It comes with a lot of cool crap. There are problems with him and I'll bring them up in the video. But for now, I would like to address a situation that Asmus has had, which is their website update. Asmus updated their website and all previous information about previous pre-orders was wiped. I did not get any notifications or anything like that to completely pay off this guy because I put down the deposit and they completely didn't say anything to any of their customers. I contacted them through email twice, through Messenger on Facebook, and when they post a convention photo, I commented on that. And so many people messaged me on that specific comment or replied to that specific comment about the same issue. When I finally heard back from them, I said, as a customer, I've never had any issues with them until now. And I said, just so you know, you're still going to get my money, but as feedback from a customer, you guys really should let people know if there is some sort of technical difficulty. Because out of the blue, I saw people putting up pictures of this guy, reviews of this guy, and because I do review, I try and get on top of it real quick. But yeah, it was just very poorly handled. Enough of that, that's all done and dusted. I'm glad I have him now. I do have a video of a Devil May Cry 5 Dante and Vergil Prime 1 statues. If you guys want to check them out, they're pretty awesome. Especially the Dante is really good. I have a few Devil May Cry figures from Asmus line up as well. I've got Lady, Dante from Devil May Cry 4 and Devil May Cry 3 Dante. All three of them are really cool figures, but the new ones are definitely better. So without further ado, let's get into this. So let's get into it, and this is obviously the box. This had the figure in it, the standard edition, which is, it has a few hands and his sword. The Yamato, but to stay with the rest of the statue line, I think they did really cool. They did a really good job with that. Devil May Cry 4 box is different. Devil May Cry 3, Lady, Dante, and Vergil are the same but different colors. And Devil May Cry, Dante, Nero, and Vergil is all exactly like this, where it has a picture of it with some glass shattering and then a color in the background. It looks really cool. But obviously you can see that the front here is shiny. You can see the reflective of my lights there. You can see a nice picture of Vergil in the front here, which is the model that they used for the Prime 1 statue. And you can see a nice little splattering in the back here and the glass shattering. You can see a silhouette of Vergil in the same pose. Vergil across here. All the relative information. Vergil's little crest thing from Devil May Cry 3, which is pretty much just his head as a devil trigger. And you have Devil May Cry 5 here in that same kind of shiny glossiness. Let's carry on, but before I do, this appeared in this specific box. It says Devil May Cry 5. It has a sticker from Asmus. This is to represent the luxury version. As you can see, mine is numbered 1467. Pretty cool, but this was inside this, and then you have this guy here that covers the box like this. A section of foam that have all the, I forgot what it's called, the blue blades. But yeah, there's a nice gold trim around his crest, and then Luxury Edition at the bottom here in nice bright gold, shiny gold too. And then when you open the box, it has this, which is pretty cool, completely black, blacky blue kind of look, and then various areas are a gloss. that make it shine, which looks really nice. And then you see Luxury Edition at the bottom here. And then at the bottom here, there's a quote that says, "What form of power is this?" Which is a really nice touch, a nice personal touch to Vergil himself. Alright, let's carry on with the accessories. Alrighty, so here we have all the accessories. So from these poles here, all the way right, is all the deluxe. Everything you see here is in the standard. In the standard, we have the Yamato and hands and this new waist clamp pole. And on the right here, all the Luxury Edition, we have Beowulf, which is one of the cooler accessories. We have Mirage Edge, which is Force Edge with, that's a Mirage for some reason. I don't know how I feel about that. It looks alright, the effect looks pretty cool, the wavy blade and the blue effect to it. It just seems a little strange. And then we have spiraling blades, which kind of just spins around Vergil as you play, and it does extra damage to any enemies. A really massive effect, like it's huge. I think this is the first video you've ever seen my entire table. And then we have blistering blade or something like that. These guys, they kind of just slot onto this and yeah, has a towering effect, which is pretty cool. So while I have it here, I will talk about the Mirage accessories. Alrighty, so here we have the spiral blades. They are significantly smaller to the smaller style blades. Here is the smaller style blades. These are the ones that are like the ones that you shoot at your enemies. And then again with Mirage Edge, which is even bigger. So these are kind of like the 3 sizes of blades that you get with the Mirage, I guess, pack. I'm not entirely sure what to call it. But I think if they went any bigger with this, it'd be way too big. Right now, this is pretty big, like this is my hand. Vergil himself has no hands right now because they are all ready to be put up for accessories, but that's the size of Vergil next to this guy. So I think it's a decent size to make it not too big and not too small. It's a nice blue plastic. The only downfall I have is the plastic feels a little cheap. I don't think they could have gotten any other way to get this translucent kind of look to it, you know? It's very, very translucent, but the blue is quite vivid at the same time, so I can't complain about that. The only issue I have with it is every second blade is the same. So it's like these 4 are the same, and then these 4 are the same. And that kind of lets things down a bit. Diversity is very key when it's repetition, and this is too much repetition for one giant thing. They should have probably mixed and matched this one and this one just as a glue together and then mold from that. But unfortunately, most of them are the same. I think if you have it set up, you won't really notice. But that said, let's get into the Mirage Edge as well as Mirage blades. Alright, so here we have the Mirage Edge here and the blades, the Mirage blades here. So the Mirage blades are pretty cool. Again, only issue is that they're exactly the same. I guess they're a set of 3, but they're all similar and different. I suppose like if you want to set them up, you could set them up like that. Oopsie. Set them up like that, so it's a little different. But even so, like I don't think it would have been too much effort to cut every second one of this off or this off or something like that. Other than that, these guys are made out of the same plastic, extremely thin, as you can see there, very, very thin. A little too thin for my liking. I know it's meant to be a Mirage, but it's like, being able to do this with a accessory just seems wrong. Other than that, there's no massive complaints. It was definitely worth the price. It was only $330 for the normal version, USD, and then $390 for all the accessories. So you don't get that much, but you get a lot, if that makes any sense. You don't get that much, as most of the stuff is all Mirage blades and an extra weapon, or technically an extra 2 if you count this one. And then the spiral blades as well as the Mirage blades is kind of similar but different. But while we have Mirage Edge, why don't we compare Force Edge to the Mirage Edge? So this here, is the force edge. The overall silhouette is similar. You can see that the hooks on the side here from the crossguard is similar. You can see there's a small point on each side and a bigger bulk area here and a spiral handle here. Other than that, there's no similarities at all. I think they should have made this guy longer and obviously thicker. Like the difference between thickness is very poor. You can see there. At least the ends here should have been thicker. But we'll get into detail of the crossguard, handle and hilt. Alright, so here we have the close-ups here. You can see that the silhouette, like I mentioned before, is similar. Even so, like, the difference in the size is very bad. This seems like a cash grab, cheap plastic bit compared to the actual force edge. Especially when you see the skull. I'm not too sure if you can see it, but there is a skull there, but it's just kind of 3 drilled holes. I'm not sure if you can see the holes of the nose and the 2 eyes. But it's very, very cheaply done. A little disappointing, but I'm still glad I got the Luxury Edition, you know? All the blades have a similar look to them. Even this one, pretty sure it's all the same mold, just scaled smaller. If I were to complain about it, I would say it feels cheap, but the bulk of how much you get isn't bad. Alright, here we have Beowulf. This is probably the most disappointing accessory I've ever gotten from a Asmus figure. It's very bland and very underpainted. The sculpt is amazing, absolutely nailed the sculpt, but the actual paint job is terrible. I'm not too sure if you can pick it up, but one foot is shinier than the other. And then it's just a bland, flat grey with no proper detail paint-wise, and then where the detail is just random flicks of yellow. There's a little bit of pink in there too, but I don't understand what the hell the pink is for. I actually had to confirm with the game. I actually went in and checked to see what the Beowulf looked like in Devil May Cry 5 to Devil May Cry 3, and though the design is incredibly improved, the paintwork on this is just terrible. All these segments here are meant to be like a bright, light looking paintwork, at least. In the game it is like a luminous devil arm where these segments here are all meant to be lit up, but it's just a random yellow paint. I'll show you what I mean. The foot is just this, like I said, a random, these yellow flicks through it. I don't understand it. And then the pink is in between all the joints. The sculpt is still amazing. Even the grey looks okay, but the detail in paintwork, other than that, is just awful. I'm sorry, like, this is really bad. I don't know if they rushed it or anything like that. And the inconsistency between the two, you can see that this one's so much less shiny than this one. Have a look. Other than that, it's okay, I guess. It's a cool accessory, but when you add the cheapness to the Mirage blades and then the paintwork of this, it starts to look like the Luxury Edition doesn't really work in price-wise. Other than that, I am still very happy with the overall result. Don't get me wrong, I'm just talking about how much they could have improved and what they could have improved. Here is the Gauntlet. Very, very nicely sculpted. The paintwork is awful. But the sculpt of like these 3 things here and then here just looks really cool. I think you can see the yellow flicks a lot better here, and the paintwork of that pink. So it's like pink, reddy and yellow, which is very strange. I'll show you a photo of what he looks like here compared to here. The sculpt work is still pretty awesome. It looks like it'll fit his hands nicely without damaging his actual coat, which just seems very delicate. So yeah, props to that. Other than that, like, the paint job is just awful. The camera's picking up a lot more color than there actually is in this Gauntlet, which is very, very sad. And the paint job is pretty consistent through them all, except for the 2 feet. Like, look at that. That looks amazing. But there's no paint effort into it, you know? I would have went through with white and then slowly faded out to give it like a luminescent look, or even just put straight up fluorescent white in there, which would have made it pop because it's such a bright color. There's so much potential, but no consistency. But yeah, this is kind of what it would look like together. It's nice that they put in a joint area so you can move the foot without moving the whole thing, which is pretty cool. It looks good as a piece, but if you reference the imagery from the game, it just looks awful. Right, here you have the normal edition accessories. Very minimalistic. This is kind of just in here because it's worth a mention. So, we have 6 hands and 1 hand by itself. We have the blade Yamato, the upgraded version, which I will compare that to the Yamato from Devil May Cry 3. So the only reason this is in here is because it's new and different to the kind of looks of the other crotch grabbing stands. It's very elegant, kind of Greek. Very cool, I like it. I prefer this to what they gave us, which was kind of just a tube of plastic. But this looks a lot better. A little bit of paint detail on this would have been much appreciated, but the fact that they added this in regardless of any prompting is still pretty cool. And obviously we have the Yamato, very, very nicely detailed. I'll zoom in on the handle here. You can see very well done. You can see little pins on the inside there. That there's a hollow over there. I'm not entirely sure if that's meant to be, but you also have some detail on the crossguard here, which is accurate, looks very nice, very well done. It is a real metal blade, which is really nice. There is a small amount of detail. You can just see it with the right amount of light on the end here. Over here you can't see it, but it becomes visible with the right amount of light. That is actually accurate too, which is pretty good. And then we have the sheath, which is really nicely done too. It's got a little bit of detail on the end here. Some of the similar style dots, very cool. And then also we have these leathery bits. They seem like they're made out of the same material that the leather is made out of on the Devil May Cry jackets. You can see there's like these little flowery bits here, which is nice. Just a little real knot there, which is pretty cool. See, stuff like this makes me think that the Luxury Edition really could have done better when it comes to paint and sculpt, especially with the Mirage stuff and the Beowulf. Paint on the Beowulf and the Mirage stuff could have been done better with a little bit of detail. But yeah, the gold is painted nicely and it slides in there quite good too. Just like that, quite well done. Here we have Devil May Cry 3 Yamato and Devil May Cry 5 Yamato. You can see there's a significant difference between the two, mostly in the sheaths. So the grip is very different too. The grip is actual detail rather than this just being paint. I don't mind the paint. I feel like this seems a little cheaper than this, but so I do like the detail in the old Yamato, this little hilt end here, or the sheath end here. It looks like something you could whack someone with, which he actually does. This one here looks a little bit too, I guess, traditional Japanese. So this is manga Japanese, and then we have traditional Japanese. The swords are both the same size, both metal. The crossguards are so much better in the Devil May Cry 5. I think from the swords, the actual swords, the Devil May Cry 5 is better because the entirety is so much more detailed. And then the little tassels that you put around your waist looks so much better on Devil May Cry 5, purely because it has that weird leather texture, and then you have those little flowers on it. This is just a poofy little piece of ribbon, which is, it looks nice, but because it is ribbon, it kind of poofs up a bit. So you can see here it doesn't necessarily want to behave, but this is purely just to be here and nowhere else, which is really nice. And then we have the hands. So I will do one hand because they're all pretty much the same. Very nicely detailed. You can see textures of the sewing, and the paintwork is quite nice too. It's like a blue material with a slight bit of black shading, and the fingers are very, very rubbery, which is it really helps with possibility when it comes to these tight gripped hands here. And then this guy here is a really nice addition. I'm happy that they put this one in, but I wish that they would have had a gripping hand like this with the index finger extended, so that they could do the same pose that's on the front of the box, where they have his one finger
extended forward as he's drawing his sword that's across his body, which would have looked really nice. But yeah, that's about it for the accessories. Alrighty, here we have him in all his glory. Very, very cool looking, very imposing, I would say. There are a few things that I do like and dislike, and there are some neutral things as well, and we'll get into that now. But for the meantime, this is how he looks just standing up straight up and down. And he's not giving a thumbs up, he's just meant to be holding his sword. Alrighty, so here we have the bottom part of his feet and boots, I guess. And also the base. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the base. I'm quite disappointed that Asmus has continued to just give us one standard base. I think Asmus really could have done something different. If they're going to go all out with the new stand here, then they should probably do something else with the floor. I feel like they could keep the circular base with the patterns on the sides and stuff, but take this off and put maybe the Clifart root on here, or just make it look a little bit different. In the end, I'm happy that every single base matches, but in the end, every single base matches, so it kind of sucks at the same time. It's more bad than good when it comes to repetition sometimes, and I think it's getting to the point where it's, okay, this needs to change. I was hoping that they would change it with the Devil May Cry 3 figures, but they didn't, and then another opportunity with Devil May Cry 5 came out that they could have changed it up, but they didn't. From what I understand, this is spanned from the original, which is Devil May Cry 4 Dante, and it's repeated since. And that was the first in the line, so there's been a few figures since then. There's been 8 figures, and that's not including the 2-pack release where it's like 1 luxury and 1 standard edition. So if you're counting the separate releases of luxury editions, then there would be 12 standard and luxury editions released with the same base. And there's also a 13th one coming out, which is Dante with new weapons and a new face sculpt. So there's a fair few. A little lazy. They should change the sticker. This base sticker, whatever the hell it's called. But either way, I'm still happy that it matches. So I would much prefer if they kept this round style base with the weird kind of pattern on the sides, but change the top, you know? So here we have his like chaps and his dress shoes. And man, does his dress shoes look really cool. I don't remember them being shiny, even in the Prime 1 statue, his boots aren't this shiny, but they look really nice like that. I kind of wish there was a little bit more paint work on it. It seems like they painted the bottom section here of the sole, and then maybe dry brushed over it. And then it left that like kind of weird stain around the outside of the boot. If it's weathering, okay. They should have done a bit of a better job with that weathering. But if it's just lazy paintwork, then that's really bad. Like, don't put something in there that's just so sleek and smooth and then just fuck it up with a random brush stroke around the foot. So that's kind of a letdown. Other than that, like, when you see them from a distance, you can't really tell that they're dirtied up, which is okay. But again, if you're going to do something, do it right. Especially with the price tag of these guys, it seems like things are getting a little bit cheaper now. Definitely with this later statue here. There's also a few issues with the magnets on the Devil May Cry 5 Dante figure. Stuff like that, it needs to be done properly. Alright, so like here we have chap section. I think they're called chaps. I don't know. But these are sculpted really nicely. I wish there was a bit of a different paint job in the material on the inside there. Or even just like those bits cut out hollow so you could see his actual pants, which will be really cool. But they look really nice, they're painted really nice. I think they could have done a little bit more weathering, but other than that, no complaints. These sections here do pop open. You pull that out, and that's where you slide off his chap and take his shoe off, and then you can put the Beowulf on, which is really cool. Yeah, no, they look really nice. Very well sculpted and painted. Moving up to his pants here. His pants looks really cool. It's kind of like a plasticky material. I don't think it's going to weather well. I'm really scared that it's going to start flaking because it's like a weird material. It's very different to the textures of the jackets that we've been getting. So I'm a little concerned about that. But other than that, it creases like a bitch. I've only had him in a few poses and you can already see all these lines. It adds to the aesthetic. It makes it look like he's not wearing like skin-tight leotard jeans. I do like all the patterning of the sewing in there. It's actual sewing, which looks really nice. Very well done. And while we are here, I'll talk about the inside of his coat. How cool does that look? Like, it's through the entirety of his coat. The inside is just this gold pattern, the brown background in like this swirly weird pattern. And then the ends here are frayed. I think they should have sewn that, but it gives it more of an authentic look, that it looks all destroyed at the end there, which is really cool. A little bit of paint wear would have been good there as well. Make him a little bit more dirty, like it's been tattered for a while. Let's move up. Here we have his under jacket kind of thing. I don't know what you would call that. The vest looks very nice. The patterning on it's really cool. It's like this robbery style material, similar to the material on the Devil May Cry 3 Vergil. If you haven't checked out that video, go check it out. But you can see the two different colors. One's blue, one's like a darker gray. You didn't notice this all that much until the figure came out, or the statue came out of Prime 1. And I'm very impressed that they made it slightly lighter so you can see it a bit better. But it looks really nice. I do like the way it comes across. It makes him look very slimming and proper, you know. But the buttons here look really nice. On the sides here, like the double folded pirate looking jacket and stuff like that looks really good. I will say this. I'm not entirely sure if you can see all the detail on this, but there is small details on the buttons, and not even Prime 1 did that. There's remnants of it on the Prime 1 statue, but I think it just got lost in the mold. But yeah, look at that. I tip my hat off to that. That is insane detail, and it's on all the buttons. So all of these along here, on both sides of the breast, as well as on his sleeve, which is amazing. Very well done. So that button detail is on the sides here of his sleeve too. But even these are separate plastic. And instead of the buttons being glued on like they've done in the past, they are sewn on, which is so much better. If it comes out, like, I'm sure I could fiddle around with it and re-sew it back on. With the last Devil May Cry 4 Dante, it kind of, these buttons were glued on, and it didn't take, and I've lost a couple of the buttons because of it, and it really sucks. But the pinstriping on this is really nice too, and you can see like the sewing looks really nice. This is meant to be, it's not meant to have that little crease there, but I think moving him around that crease has just become inevitable. Quite tight in the shoulder areas, I think. But the pinstriping on it is really cool, all on the collar. The kind of dragon pattern that he had in Devil May Cry 3 is still relevant to the newer releases, which is really nice. I like the zipper at the top here where it's not an ascot or anything like that anymore. It's a nice like zip with a cool square pattern, which looks really nice. You can see that the dragon pattern goes all the way around from one side of his chest all the way to the back, and then the other side of his chest too, which looks really nice. And again, I have taken his jacket off, and you can take it off. It looks really cool. His body looks really out of proportion because this looks extremely long because it comes down past his waist. So it just looks very strange. But let's get into this head sculpt, shall we? Alrighty, here we have the Alpha and the Omega, Sparta's son Vergil. Very cool. I think there's a few things off about his face, but again, it's like every other of the figures, like you can't really put your finger on it. I think his hair's quite wide for the way he wore it, but when you put a side comparison to this image and then the image on the actual game, I will show you that here. There's not much difference. I think there is a few things off, but I cannot put my finger on it. I generally think it's just the hair. He's got like an Edward Cullen kind of hair. Very poofy. But the sides, if they brought that in a little bit, I think it would look a lot better. The face, I'm completely happy with. I did have a comparison when the prototype photos came out. I had a comparison of like split screen down the middle of his face. I'll show you what I mean here. And yeah, it looks right, you know. I do like the wispy bits on the side of his hair. I think his hair's a little bit better than what they've been doing with the other line. So they've added like a silver dry brush over it, so it looks more silver than gray, which is really cool. The hairline looks good, the eyes look good, the facial features look good. That darkness underneath his eye looks really good too. And he's got those piercing blue eyes, which look really nice with the gloss effect over his eyes, which look really cool. The back looks really nice too, how it's individually sculpted to come out rather than just smoothed down, which looks a lot better. But yeah, it looks really good. I'm very happy with how this turned out. The only thing, it just something about it looks off. If you guys can pick it up, please, by all means, let me know.
Alrighty, thank you very much for tuning into this video today. I do appreciate the view. I do appreciate it if you guys like and subscribe. If you want to talk about any of the issues that you've had with Asmus and how I got in contact with them, please jot down your comments in the comment section. Thank you to all my Patreons for obviously subscribing. I'm getting enough from my Patreons to the point where I can actually buy a new studio light, which would be really cool. Especially because like right now it's just like a cardboard pillar and a desk lamp. But it has worked for now. I would like to get a proper studio light for that and another camera. Thanks to you guys, I can actually afford to get something else, and I do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. As well as all my subscribers and people who like my videos, I do appreciate that too. If you guys want to check out my Patreon, the link is in the description. As well as thank you to our newest member, Ouroboros. He is doing our video music from now on. He's got some really cool stuff. But yeah, if you want to get in contact with him or anything like that, please contact me and I'll go through, you can go through me to get to him. But yeah, thank you all for watching and stay safe.